we will cover the UAS, the authentication server, and also the end-to-end encryption for password and also for the data. In today's session, I'm going to elaborate a little bit more, okay, from the pre-sales perspective, okay, how to sell it, and then what are what are something you could draw your client, the audience attention, okay, or some highlights, okay, about our solution, our server, our products, all right. So for authentication server, of course, every bank or organization, they need the authentication server. They need the something to authenticate, the login, authenticate the user. Okay, so we need to highlight something that is very important. Is okay, we want to build a framework for the customer. Okay, and we don't care about what kind of authentication method, whether it is a password, whether it's a 2FA token, hardware token, soft token, or biometrics, whatever. So this is something we want to help the customer, help the banks, okay, to set up the framework, okay, so to take care all of the authentication requirements from the application. So when you see, okay, we work with different vendors on the token implementation, okay, such as like OneSpan or some China brand or even others, okay, as long as they comply to the OATH standard, OTP standard, okay. So our position is to build the central authentication framework for the customer to fulfill all the requirements, okay, for the login, transaction signing, okay, for different applications. So this is something quite important, okay, because they may think, once I purchase your framework, once I deploy your architecture, then I don't have to buy additional servers, I don't have to buy additional infrastructure, okay, for other applications, for other services, okay. So we just need to build in to build such framework, and then this is linear scalable, okay. So when you need I need more throughput, more performance, just add in more server, more UAS server. So this is also one of the beauty, linear scalability, okay, for our solution. And of course, we have different types of tokens, hardware token, one button, okay, pin pad, and also soft token. Of course, yeah, this is the trend, okay. The banks moving from the hardware token to the soft token. And also one beauty about our server is the segmented hierarchy. Last time I already said, because we separate the application, the policy, security policy, admin, login policy into different segments. So it's like, okay, each application, each BU, business unit, they may own their policy. They may define their own policy, security leads, like the encryption, number of the OTP, length, expiration time, etc. So all those policy or configuration are separate. So they are like having multiple authentication server or authentication framework. So this is something attracts them. I don't have to set a common policy for all the application, for all the business. Okay, so they have their own. So it's like I don't have to share those policy or to have those limitations. All right. So this is also one of our patented technology. And the next one is for the banks or organization, for one application, when you start doing the integration, okay, for the token, for the authentication, of course, you need to integrate with their library, DLLs, and then do the integration, fulfill all the security requirement, etc. Then next day, the bank may have another like corporate banking, retail banking, fund management, pension management app, or insurance app. They have multiple apps. Then how do they do the integration one by one, or each of the application, they may have their own preferred authentication method, preferred token types, preferred login method. So it creates the complexity. All right, we need to, okay, day one, you need to add one authentication, day two, you need to add another one. And it is very common that, okay, those authentication methods or solution, they won't be able to share. All right, so if you cannot share, that means the license you purchase, the bank purchase, cannot be shared, cannot be utilized, cannot be fully utilized. All right, so from time to time, it creates the complexity. Oh my God, the integration, the maintenance, as well as the the support and the cost are getting higher and higher. And then this is also our UAS is helping them to tackle. Okay, we build a centralized authentication framework, and then we support different authentication method for each of the application. So they only need to, okay, for example, like build a common interface, a common gateway. That's all. You can leverage the gateway, leverage the interface, and then deploy your preferred application authentication method, deploy your preferred login method. So this is something we always mention to the customer, to the client. Okay, so when you source the authentication server, source the authentication solution, please be aware, okay, about the before and after factors and this kind of characteristics. All right. So, and of course, the pluggable authentication design is also one of our edge, because we support not just one FA. For one FA, yeah, like AD, LDAP, radius, or end-to-end encryption are our strength, and also move to 2FA, such as the KPA, like resetting your AD password for the password reset, and more common, the 2FA, the OTP part. OTP part, we support various of token types. Okay, no matter it's a one button hardware token, pin pad, soft token as well. Yeah, and if they comply to the old standard, yeah, we could work with all these third-party solution vendor as well. Yeah, just using the same UAS, the same authentication server, and all of them, of course, yeah, different authentication experience, like by scanning the QR code, then you finish the login, or through the push notification, okay, for the login or for the transaction data signing. Okay, so those are also supported by our server. All right, and also SMS, email OTP is very common. Our solution is the session based, meaning when I request a login or request a transaction signing, I receive a SMS. If the hacker steal my SMS, okay, took my SMS, he won't be able to log in from his laptop or from his session or mobile, okay, because it's session based. It's only valid, okay, when I type the OTP on my own computer, own laptop. So this is the session based, okay. But of course, SMS, email OTP is not really safe, because yeah, it's a clear test, okay, the OTP, and it's not recommended to use for the high risk transaction. And FIDO is designed for pinless login, pinless authentication. When you talk to your customer, sometimes you will be asked that, hey, what's your solution compared with FIDO? Okay, remember, FIDO is passwordless authenticator. It uses the fingerprint and like Face ID for login, for transaction signing. But in our solution, we already support the biometrics. We already support the Touch ID, Face ID, and then we add on top the OTP, okay, the time-based OTP, meaning you don't have to get access to the internet while you are trying to log in or trying to do the transaction signing, okay. But for FIDO, you have to do that, okay. And the FIDO, there we know RSA key, okay, the PKI, there may be some performance issue when it comes to a large volume of transaction happening at the same time. So the bank have to be aware. And then for FIDO, it's getting less common nowadays in Hong Kong, okay. Most of the banks using OTP token, and also in Singapore or in Asia, many countries, yeah, they are more familiar or comfortable to use the OTP token instead of FIDO. But still, FIDO is also one of the way for authentication. We recommend some banks, okay, while your retail banking or corporate banking using the OTP, some of your less critical applications, you may use FIDO just for login, okay, just using fingerprint, then easy to implement. You just keep in the public key at the server, and then we take care of the authentication for you. That's easy, but it's not feature rich as the OTP token. All right, but anyway, our server and client, we are FIDO certified, so it is fine. Okay, the customer purchase our UAS, they could opt for the FIDO or opt for the OTP token. Yeah, although yeah, OTP token is more popular and common. All right. And also for authentication, of course, you want to use your what you know, what you have token, what you have the soft token for the device by then. And also you may offer, the bank may offer the user, okay, to log in through the third party credential, such as like Facebook, Google account, your Gmail, your Line account. Yeah, this is often supported by the open standard like OpenID Connect, like OAuth. Okay, we are also the certified OpenID server. All right, so this is quite easy when the customer, hey, I want to do some single sign-on with the partner or with the reseller. That's fine. Okay, you could still be keeping your own credential, your ID at our server, and then the third party or partner just use the OpenID or OAuth standard to do the login. Or you could use the third party identity provider such as Google or Facebook. Okay, we do a different both way. Okay, we both support. So this is the idea of the authentication, support different types of methods, login methods, and also we could support the third party external login as well. All right. I received a question. Does it mean that the access manager will be used to only centrally manage all authentication, even coexist with different coexist? Of course, you need to authenticate the user. You cannot coexist. But as I said, okay, this is the MFA authentication server. You may have the customer, the banks may have the one FA using other platform, other server. The second FA, the second factor authentication using our server. That is fine. Yeah, we always could coexist. And indeed, in many deployment, many projects, the bank already using their login and password authentication, and then they use our solution like the hardware token, soft token as the second factor. That's fine. Yeah, that is supported and very quite common. Yeah. All right. So a little bit recap from what we discussed last time. Token, yes, safe token. Yeah, we support hardware token, of course. Yeah, the pin pad, and then the idea is to offer the time-based OTP, and then you use the secret key, and based on the time you generate the OTP. Okay, and then the OTP is actually based on whether it's response only, I use it for login, or you include some other factors when generating the OTP, like the challenge code, or is like a session code or random code, or the transaction data. So we support all these scenarios. So it's very common for login and transaction silent. Okay, because you need to buy the OTP with the transaction data, like such as the payee account, so to increase the security level. Okay, for our solution, we have the Yes Safe Token Plus. It is the off-the-shelf OTP authenticator. You could download it from App Store, but of course, this is our standard common authenticator. So all the label, the name, yeah, you see the Yes Safe. So it's more common for the bank to choose the second option, the SDK. So they merge this SDK inside their mobile app. Okay, inside their mobile app, meaning we enable the soft token, OTP token capability, okay, inside their mobile app. So it's a easy to integrate solution. We have all the API and the source code. Okay, we even have the source code, not for the SDK, of course, the source code for the demo app. So for the bank, okay, during the implementation, we deliver the SDK to them, the hardened SDK, of course, and we also deliver the demo application. The demo application already contains the login, transaction silence scenario. So you may just using the sample code as a reference, and then to do the integration. So it's quite it will help the bank to finish the integration. Usually 2 to 3 months, yeah, time. They will just use our sample code as a reference, and then finish the integration. So to finish the end-to-end flow, including the activation, the token activation, registration, OTP generation, authentication, login, transaction silent. All those scenarios can be done, okay, within 2 to 3 months. It's very straightforward, I would say. Okay, and of course, we also offer the other experience for soft token scenario like the scan and login, push to login, etc. So this is something we offer, okay, besides the hardware token, and now here the soft token. And also, this is the basic feature from our authentication server, okay, is the session control. Whenever you do the login, we issue the session ID, okay. This session ID, you use it to manage the session. For example, for one FA, you use the session, okay, to make sure it will expire in a certain time of period. But for 2FA, you want to link between the step 1 and step 2. For example, your step 1 is doing the AD or LDAP password authentication, and then your step 2 may go for the hardware token, soft token, SMS OTP, email OTP, etc. This is up to the band, up to the organization. Okay, they could divide it in the our login module profile. Okay, so each profile you define the login types and methods, and you implement accordingly. Okay, using our API. Okay, for step 1 to step 2, you will receive our server through the API will return you a session ID. So with this ID, you need to pass through from step 1 to step 2. Make sure each steps are correlated, okay, using the session ID, okay. Whether it is expired, for example, your login time can only be up to 2 minutes or 1 minute, okay. So this is your control is configurable, all right. So to make sure even you have step 1, step 2, or even step 3, you all passing this session ID from page to page to make sure they are all linked together to have a more secure correlation for each login method. Okay, so this is also how we define multi-factor authentication, meaning you have some session control to make sure. And also this session control, this session ID also be useful when you want to always keep in one active session. Remember, if the customer, hey, I log in on the mobile phone, then after that, after he successfully log in on the mobile phone, he wants to log in on the PC. Then you need to check against the session, the active session. You need to kill the previous session, right? So this is something the banks or the organization, they need to consider. How do I keep the session? How do I make sure there is only one active session? So our session control is there to help you to store the centralized session ID for each user or each account, login account. All right. And for the server, of course, one hand you need to have the SDK available. We have the REST, okay, very common integration interface, REST API. So you're using the JSON. So it's helping the bands or the developer to do the troubleshooting, do the diagnostic easily. Okay. We also support the Radius for some internal use for internal like internal 2FA firewall integration. Okay, and one important thing is we support using the HSM. Okay, the HSM is the hardware security module, because in the banking application scenarios, okay, most of them, the 2FA, they are using the soft token, hardware token, or for 1FA, they're using the end-to-end encryption. You need to have the HSM to generate the storage key to protect your password, first of all, to protect your token key, hardware token or soft token key, or sometimes you want to protect those user critical data such as the ID number, etc. So it's very common for the bank to deploy the HSM. Okay, no matter in Hong Kong, Singapore, Malaysia, Taiwan, or even in China, yeah, it's very common for the bank to use the HSM. So our server support the HSM, so through different interface such as the proprietary or PKCS 11. So it is okay for us to work with the HSM and then add in an extra layer of protection against the password as well as the key, okay, the token keys, etc. For the server, we support different types of authentication method, of course, different types of token, all right. And something important is end-to-end encryption. Of course, this is mandatory in Singapore and very common in Malaysia, and also recommended and close to mandatory in Hong Kong as well. So you need to have the end-to-end encryption make sure the customer's password, the sensitive data, okay, during the transmission will not be easily be hacked or tampered, okay. And as an authentication server, you need to think about what's the consideration of choosing the authentication server. Of course, compliance, secure, okay, almost hardened server. All right. So in our design, we have the SOD, segregation of duty. What does it mean? Segregation of duty means, okay, the admin, you do the token policy changes, you do the user management, you do the security policy algorithm changes. But in a proper way, one single person cannot do everything. You need to separate their role, okay, segregation of duty, meaning, okay, I have one person only take care of the token policy for soft token. I have another person taking care of the user, okay, such as the user assignment, token assignment. I have another person taking care of about the algorithm policy, like the OTP link, the expiration time, etc. So you need to separate each of the role, each of the person, okay, to handle different jobs. Okay, you don't want a super admin could do everything. That is easily be, you know, sometimes there's something fishy or something bad happen during your at the bank's back end that they don't want to see it. Okay, and one more thing is the maker checker design. When you do the changes, of course you want the approval. Okay, your supervisor or the your manager or from somebody from the security team or IT team. Okay, so you need to separate them. Okay, one person do the changes, make the changes, one person do the approval. All right, so this is also for important or essential for a authentication server. And of course, as a security server, we always want to see the data, okay, and make sure those data or transaction log or audit, okay, are tamper evident. All right, so we have the signature-based audit report. We know if the data has been tampered. So if the record are good, it can prove to the user or to the banks or even to the monetary authorities. These data are accurate. And why it is accurate? Because we have added the signature. We check the data to make sure they are correct, they are accurate. So it can be proved that, okay, as a time-based audit report. Okay, and our report, our audit data are in object form, so it is not easy to read and also to change. Okay, so this is also the design for the authentication server. All right, so and online monitoring, offline monitoring is something, yeah, of course, it's very basic. So you need to the banks will understand, and okay, is this high availability ready? Okay, you could keep track of all the error, warning, etc. Yeah. So this is the server for the UAS authentication. So now, okay, we will move to the E2EE. All right, for E2EE, give you from the pre-sales point of view, yeah, this is a parcel customer list, okay, for the end-to-end encryption. I received a question from Charles, is machine-to-machine authentication support? No, machine-to-machine is something like the API gateway stuff. Yeah, we don't do the machine-to-machine. Yeah, it's a application. We take care of the client authentication, not machine-to-machine. Sorry. Yeah, for machine-to-machine, we only handle through the certificate, and we offer the API for the application. Yeah, but not the machine-to-machine, not to authenticate the machine. All right. For E2EE, this is a parcel customer reference. Okay, we are very strong, particularly in Singapore, because Singapore E2EEA, okay, meaning for end-to-end encryption for password for 1FA is mandatory, okay, for the FSI. So no matter they are the banks or the insurance company, you need to have the end-to-end encryption. And then you will find, oh, iSpin almost take up most of the largest banks in Singapore. Okay, why? How could we do that? How could you do that? because our solution is flexible. We have very strong local support within the Asia countries, okay? And also our solution is, when we talk about the design, is better than the others, such as the Thales, such as the other solution, okay? You will know, when I show you the architecture later. So you see lots of the large banks in Asia, okay? They're using, okay? Even not just the Singapore, US, or Europe banks, also the China, okay? The China banks, okay? So they are using our end-to-end encryption, and some insurance company, of course, So our references are quite rich and strong, and even the government, okay? The Singapore government are using our solution as well, okay? You see the Inland Revenue Authority, they have over like 2 to 3 million users, okay? You can imagine all those Singapore taxpayers, they need to get access to the Inland Revenue system, then they need to use our solution. So all of those users are actually our part of our solution user as well. All right. And some success story, for using our UAS, using our access major server, even Hong Kong Monetary Authority, they are our customer. And Bank of China, you see a number of China banks. Okay, you may question, hey, lots of the China company, they have a very strong development team. Why did they use iSpin solution? Because our solution is versatile, and then we understand and we know about the monetary authorities requirement, their compliance requirement over the authentication. So that's why they by saving time, and then of course our server is stable, our platform is reliable and perform well. That's also the reason, okay, they pick us. So this are the references. Insurance company, some stock trading security companies, they also choose us for E2EE, end-to-end encryption. And a number of them are also using us for the 2FA as well. All right. So we finished the authentication server session. So any question? Okay, or of course you can ask your question, okay, or type into the chat box anytime if you have any question, anything want me to elaborate a little bit more. All right, and in this session, I'm going to talk about the end-to-end encryption. So for end-to-end encryption, usually we first of all ask the customer, hey, are you using anything to protect the password? Of course, in the older way or the common way is, okay, we hash the password. Okay, so hash the password, we know it is not safe. Okay, so there's some door knocking technique. We telling the customer, telling the bank, hey, the password of course is not safe. We see always from the newspaper, some big large internet company organizations, their users password account are being stolen, okay, by the hacker, etc. So this is something they need to be aware. Okay, if your name, the bank's name, okay, show on the newspaper related to this kind of attacks or password breach, then you'll be in trouble, okay? Because the government monetary authorities will come to you, and sometimes they will punish or issue some fine. It's very common. Okay, so attack password being stolen, it's very common. And let's back to the password hashing approach. Okay. Many organizations, they just store the hash of the password. They find, oh, it's easy because we hash the password and store in the database. That's all. And the value stored in the database is not a clear text, so you cannot easily guessing, okay, what password is it? But that is not enough, okay? Because we know using some kind of the graphic card, you can actually do some brute force attack, okay, to brute force the password and then to find out what the actual password is. And then we see some testing, okay, using some like SHA-1 or SHA-256 for the hashing, you could actually come up 73 million of password per second. So this kind of the graphic card is quite good in terms of performance, and then the costs are very low. So it's not safe, okay, because the hacker can easily steal your customer's password. So that's why we need to encrypt the password. We need to have the password protection mechanism and solution as well. And it comes to the business requirement for the banks. Hey, I need to protect the PIN, protect the password to make sure nobody knows about the customer's password, even the bank's insider. Okay, what do you mean the bank's insider? Of course, the IT team staff, the developer, the security team, and even the DBA. All right, this is the user, and also the infrastructure. Okay, not only at the secure zone at the DB layer, but also the intranet DM zone. Okay, or the public network. You need to have the certain security measures to protect the passwords of the bank's user. Okay, this is something they need to consider and need to make sure, because when you offer the service, is very often in Singapore, in Malaysia, or in Hong Kong, Taiwan, the monetary authority will come to you. Hey, you need to answer a number of questions about the security protection. Okay, for the token, for the password, for the user's data. Then you need to answer. Okay, whether the data is stored in the DM zone, is there any threats or any possibility the data will be stolen by the insider, etc. So this is very common. The banks need to answer those questions. They need to deploy the solution for that. Okay, and those will come to the business requirement as well as the security requirement, of course. So you need to prevent the sensitive data being leakage or being hacked, okay, from the outsider or even insider. And for the end-to-end encryption, this is the regulation requirement from MAS, from Singapore MA. Okay, you need to have those data, the password need to be encrypted. Okay, and you need to have some tamper-proof, okay, tamper-proof solution. Okay, meaning is they are implying actually the HSM to protect those passwords, to verify those passwords, and some banks or some customer, they ask, hey, if we already have the 2FA, do we still need to use the end-to-end encryption? The answer is yes. Okay, from the MAS, the Singapore Monetary Authority, because they are different. Okay, 1FA and 2FA, they are different. Okay, so you need to be aware of each of the authentication factors, protection, and also the mechanism. In our solution, end-to-end encryption, okay, it is one of the functional module inside the UAS. As I said, we have the 1FA, 2FA, OTP, FIDO, etc. So by using the license, you could enable the end-to-end encryption module, the E2EE module. Okay, indeed, for the E2EE module, we have a number of functional license as well. I will explain a little bit more. So once you install the UAS, we give you the installer. We support Windows and Linux. Once you install it, you could configure the E2EE end-to-end encryption already. And the most the major configuration will be the key. Okay, whether the using the RSA key, what kind of storage key you are using. So you configure the E2EE parameters as well as the login module, as I said, the 1FA, 2FA, etc. So those are the basic configuration you need to do. And somehow, those are the basic configuration, not too much to do after that. And of course, we help to protect the credentials, protect the confidential data, and we also work with the HSM, for the password verification or the key protection. So this is something our E2EE module will do. So when the banks to source the end-to-end encryption solution, something we will always tell them, hey, there are some consideration. Okay, are you going to deploy the HSM? If so, then are you going to using the HSM for the PIN comparison? Of course, it's more secure because the PIN comparison, the verification is done inside the HSM. So meaning even the insider, nobody through the memory OS level, nobody could access to those operation or those data, okay, because everything is done inside the HSM, okay. If the data are stored outside the HSM, they are still encrypted, protected by the HSM key. So this is something very common for the end-to-end encryption and also the token key, hardware soft token key protection as well. Yeah, they are protected by the HSM storage key. Okay. So do they want to do the code ingestion, or they want to have the off-the-shelf feature, okay, of the HSM? Meaning, because there are some HSM, they come with the end-to-end encryption features, okay, and our solution we support both, okay, whether it's a payment HSM or the general purpose. For the general purpose HSM, we do offer our customized software put inside the HSM. That means those logic, the password generation, verification, comparison are also done inside the HSM, but using our logic. So we offer a more feature-rich software, okay, to handle the 1FA, handle the end-to-end encryption. All right. So what kind of HSM they want to consider? Usually, yeah, the network appliance, one unit HSM is the most common form factor in the market now. Yeah, the e-channel type, whether you use it for mobile, for the web banking, internet banking, corporate banking, retail banking. Bank of China in Hong Kong, they're using our end-to-end encryption even for the ATM. Okay, so whenever they type the password using the ATM card, the password are encrypted at the ATM side all the way to our server. So this is kind of the PIN translation. We do it for them. Okay, it's also very secure, of course. Even the ATM, they have the end-to-end encryption. Yeah, do they need the local support? Of course, in Malaysia, Singapore, Philippines, we leverage our partner like you guys, and then in other cities and countries, we also have our local support or very strong partners, okay, supporting the customer, okay. And besides the password, do they need the end-to-end encryption for the transaction data or customer information? There is another functional module we could offer for the data in transit, okay. And yeah, this is the ATM PIN, whether they need end-to-end encryption for the PIN translation. And PIN mailer is something you have the printer, okay, direct connects to the ATM. So it's the password. Imagine the password reset scenario when the customer forget password, and like such as the ATM card, okay. So sometimes you receive the envelope, okay, of the reset the password. They mail it to you. So this is what the PIN mailer do, is generate the new password, reset the new password inside the HSM, and then print it out to the letter, okay, and with the bank will mail it to the customers, okay. So all the password generation and printing are done inside they call it the isolated printing room, okay, with the HSM and the printer connected together to do such operation. So this is the PIN mailer feature, okay, and it's common for some in some banks, like for the credit card or ATM card, etc. Yeah, this is the PIN mailer feature. So HSM by functionality, okay, as I said, we support two types of HSM. One is the general purpose, okay. General purpose meaning, okay, the HSM only provide the PIN, the key management, okay, nothing else. So iSpin, we develop our HSM software put inside the HSM. So all the features and logic are based, okay, are provided by iSpin, okay. So we know what the customer requirement, and then we offer more advanced features, okay, for those password management. And of course, because general purpose HSM, they don't have the printer ports, okay. So the PIN mailer is not available, it's not supported. All right. So this is something you need to be aware. If the banks or the customer, they just want for the password management, all right, for the login end-to-end encryption, then they should go for the general purpose. Or if they want, like, oh, I still want the PIN mailer, then they could deploy tool maybe in their production to put in the printing room, okay, for the payment HSM. Payment HSM, it has the PIN mailer option because it has the printer port, okay, to connect to the printer directly. And it's common for the payment HSM already come with the PIN mailer as well as some password management features. So it is up to the bank whether, okay, if I'm using the payment HSM, can I leverage the payment HSM? The answer is yes. Our UAS we support, such as the Thales PayShield or the previous model, the Gemato, the SafeLed, Luna EFT. Yeah, those payment HSM we support for the E2EE end-to-end encryption scenario. Okay, so these are the different about the HSM. And for the E2EE modules, we support different modules. We offer different modules for different scenario. Okay, just now we talk about the end-to-end encryption for the password. Okay, with the PIN mailer, with the printer, or without. Okay, so these two are the standard or the most common. Okay, we use in Singapore and use in Hong Kong as well. Okay, for the password management, password verification, also password changes, the PIN reset, etc., all inside the HSM. All right, so these are the very common end-to-end encryption. And we also have another tool. Okay, let's talk about the first one. We call it the pseudo E2EE. Pseudo E2EE is similar to the HSM E2EEA. Okay, they are similar, but just there is no need to use HSM. Okay, so for the pseudo E2EE, we don't really need you use the E2EE, or it's up to the bank. They could use the HSM or not. Okay, in some scenario, some like financial institutes, insurance company, stock trading company, they want to have the E2EE for the data in transit, password in transit for the over the internet, over the DM zone. They want to have the end-to-end encryption, but HSM is not mandatory. Can I use your solution but without the HSM? The answer is yes. Okay, so our pseudo E2EE to allow the password being verified inside the UAS. Okay, inside the UAS or even inside your application server. So it is possible by using the pseudo E2EE module. Okay, so this is for some organizations or some companies, they don't really need the HSM because it's not a regulatory compliance requirements. Then yeah, they could opt for the pseudo E2EE. Okay, and for the last one is the E2EDP. We call it the data protection or E2EEDIT. Okay, data in transit. It is for the data. All right, it's not for the password management. We don't verify the password for you. We don't do the password reset, password generation. Yeah, within this module. This module is only used for data protection. Okay, of course, I will elaborate a little bit more for this one, data protection. This one is to taking care about your like transaction information, your phone number, email address, postal address. Those are PII, those personal information. All right. So this is another module, another functional module we could offer in our E2EE family suite. So this slide illustrates about the E2EEA. Okay, for the password. Imagine in the SSL or TLS approach. All right, your certificate. Okay, the data are in clear at the node, like the web server, like the application server, because this is a design about the SSL. Okay, at the web server you need to decrypt it. All right, so the data are actually in clear in the DM zone. We believe, yeah, the web server usually they exist in a DM zone or sometimes in the CDN node. Okay, if the banks or organization they leverage the CDN service provider to provide, then you need to use their certificate. Then your data will be in clear at their node. Even though they claim, okay, we will re-encrypt it. Yeah, but still some company organization they don't trust, they don't believe, they don't want their customers' data being exposed at each of the CDN node or the web server. All right, and even when they think about SSL is it good enough? No, SSL is not good enough. TLS is not good enough because we see SSL 1.0, 1.1, 1.2. the version keep increasing because the compromise, okay, happens, okay, from time to time. And even some banks, they came, we have the third pinning, but indeed third pinning can be bypassed, okay. We know because we did some testing, and we heard that in the market, yeah, some solution or some hacking techniques, okay, can bypass the third pinning. So why not the banks or the organization to build their own secure tunnel? Okay, so this is also our solution, why our solution is popular and is necessary. Okay, first of all, we talk about the password. The password, we have the HSM. Of course, pin mailer is optional for the payment HSM. For the password, okay, you want to have the HSM to generate the password, to reset the password. You want to have the HSM to generate the transport key, okay. In our solution, we generate the random RSA key. We usually generate like 16 pairs of RSA key, and each time when the customer load the login page, okay, your login page can happen on the mobile or on the web, on the web browsers, okay. When the login page is loaded, okay, the customer enter their login ID and password. Then at that moment, there's a RSA public key sent to the client. All right. So the client, the web page or the mobile app could use the RSA key to encrypt the password right away. Whenever you press the submit button, okay, you should use our RSA key to encrypt the password. So the password is encrypted by the public key and sent all the way, okay, pass through your web server, CDN node, app server, and even pass through our authentication server, UAS, and all the way to the HSM. So what happened inside the HSM? Our UAS will also send the encrypted password, okay, which is stored inside the database, but being encrypted by the HSM key, sent to the HSM at the same time. So the HSM could do the decryption, okay, using the storage key, and also do the verification inside the HSM. Inside the HSM, so nobody knows about the process, about the password, even your DBA, your IT team, security team, nobody knows, because everything happened, okay, inside the HSM. So this is why this is important and essential, and it's the most secure scenario, most secure approach for the password management. All right, and of course, yeah, after they change password or reset password, the password will be encrypted using the HSM key, and then return back to our UAS, and then we put it into the database. So the password at rest are being encrypted and protected by the HSM. All right. For some other solution, they may need to, they are not this straightforward. Okay. Some solution, they may need to have the HSM to protect the server, and they may need another server to do the password verification. Okay. This is what we have seen in other solution. So when you compare, or when the customer, the banks compare the solution, make sure they understand in our solution, everything is done inside the single HSM, We are not passing through between the HSM or other server, okay? Because it's not secure. You keep passing the password from one node to the other node. In our solution, everything done inside one HSM. All right, so this is very straightforward and simple architecture. You just need our authentication server for some security rule definition or some algorithm setup. Okay, that's all. Everything done inside HSM. So this is why our solutions are so popular in Singapore, in Hong Kong, or etc. Okay, so RSA key for the transport, for the password protection in transit. All right, any question here? If no, then we will move on. This is for password. The next one I'm going to talk about is for the data. All right, why do we need the data? Of course, the answer for the reason is, of course, the SSL is not safe, TLS is not safe, your certificate data are also decrypted at each of the CDN node web server. And for data, we don't really need the HSM, because we only want to protect the data sent between the back end and the front end, the client end are encrypted. So this area, this path are secure. So up to the the app server, because your data will be processed at your application, at the bank's application, such as your phone number, your email address, or your transaction data. Okay, those data will be in clear, of course, at the banking application. So our protection, our data encryption only happen, okay, from the client device to the application or authentication server. All right. The encryption approach is slightly different. Okay, for the client to server, we use the random RSA key. Okay, the RSA key, we generate the RSA key and send to the client. So whenever you send us send a data upload to the server, you use it to protect, just like the password. And then our server will decrypt it and pass back to the application server. So this is the logic about the data encryption from client to server. For server, we use the symmetric key. Why we need to do that? Because you need to have something to protect the symmetric key, and then to make sure the symmetric key will store in both the client and the server side. So the logic is to have the RSA key pass to the client, and then the client to generate the symmetric key. So this symmetric key are actually generated at the client side. Okay, and then this symmetric key will store at the client and then send to the server. During the transmission, we use the RSA key to encrypt, to protect this symmetric key when passing to the server. So to make sure this symmetric key will exist in both the client device and also the server side. So we establish the secure tunnel. We encrypt it we encrypt the data using a symmetric key, decrypt it at the server side using a symmetric key. Or you could use the symmetric key to encrypt the data at the server side and send to the client. And the client, of course, you have the symmetric key, you use it to decrypt the data. So this is how we establish the secure tunnel between the server side and the client side, and there's nobody could tamper the data, and it will prevent the man in the middle attack as well. So this is how the bidirectional end-to-end encryption for data protection works. Okay. No question about the password and also the data, right? Okay, good. Then I will move on. For the UAS end-to-end encryption, we provide the library, okay, for the even for the desktop, okay, because some banks, they may have the desktop version for the banking application. So we have the DLL library, and also for the Android and iOS library. So you just use it, yeah, right away, and we provide the sample code, of course, for easy integration. Yeah, in the previous version we have the BlackBerry native library, but now, yeah, we don't. I think we stop it already for the support for the BlackBerry. Yeah, but we know, yeah, iOS and Android is more popular, of course. And we generate the RSA key pairs for the client to server, and we prevent replay attack. So even you capture the data and then try to do another replay attack, we count the session, we count the number of the retry. Okay, so to make sure the replay attack will not work, okay, at the server side. And we do key rollover. So as I mentioned about the 16 key pairs of the RSA key, we could swap it from time to time. So it is up to the bank's policy to make sure the predefined key cannot be used for long for over like 6 months. Then, well, you could define another set of RSA key and then swap it, no problem. Yeah, dual control, of course. Yeah, this is the core feature of UAS. Password policy, we support different type of policy, like the length of the password, alphanumeric, how many capital letters, how many lower letters, etc. Yeah, and yeah, the bank could integrate with the UAS through the REST. Yep. Audit and report, of course. HSM model, we support PIN mailer or only the password, or even support the or the data. Okay, and we monitor about the HSM, so we load balance about we do a HA, okay, primary, secondary. So we take care of the HSM, we integrate with the HSM. The bank will not need to take care about HSM. They don't have to integrate with HSM. Just integrate with our UAS is good enough. Yeah. So this also help the bank to save some effort. Yeah, just using our REST API is fine. Yep, this is the password policy. We offer rich features over the password management. Yeah, so you could define your password lead. I would say, yeah, this is something most of the bank, yeah, requirement. Okay, so by adding more and more features. So imagine, because for the general purpose HSM approach, we have developed our software. So we integrate, we add in all those password management features from time to time. So we have many different versions, different release that reflects to the bank's requirement. So from the existing version, I would say it's very mature. Okay, so it could serve most of the bank's requirement on the password. All right. Audit log, yeah, we have the system log and the audit log for the login fail, retry can't, fail, retry can't, all those are logged into our system. Audit report, yeah, user activities, token, PIN mailer, login violation, login fail, etc. And we could also generate a batch file for some analytics processing for the banks. Yeah. Integration, we integrate, we provide the libraries, and we also could enable the log account, for example, like up to 4 times or 5 times of login fail. So this is a sample log info. I will not go into too much detail, but one thing I need to highlight is, as I said, when the customer load the browser, okay, enter the login ID and password, the RSA key, the key materials are actually passed to the web page, to the client. Okay, so once they submit the password, then our SDK should encrypt the password, and this encrypted password and user ID will send to the backend for verification. So this is very common. Okay, when you every time when you refresh your browser page, this key material will be different. Okay, and we will issue another session ID, session random key to make sure to prevent the replay attack. So it's secure. Every time you reload, the key will be different. Okay, and the session key, the session ID will be different. Okay, for the security. All right. And here comes the HA architecture. Basically, our UAS connect to the HSM directly, and the banks will have the app server using REST API to connect to our UAS for the password verification, reset password scenario. Okay, so all this app server, web server belongs to the bank, of course. We only need the UAS and also deploy the HSM. Yep. Why we need to? Because of high availability. Of course, we want to have the HA. So for database, it is provided by the bank. So we support like Oracle, MS SQL Server, or even MySQL for some scenario. Right? It depends on what the bank's preference. Okay. All the encrypted data are stored inside the database. Okay. So the bank have to make sure they have the real-time data backup. Okay, or data replication to the DR side, backup side. That's all. The architecture is indeed quite simple. We support VM, virtual machine, so you could deploy the virtual machine as well, and make sure the database data are being backed up. Okay, in real time. So after the production side fail, you could just switch all the traffic using the load balancer, okay, to the backup site, and then turn on the backup server, and it will work like normal. Yeah, so this is quite simple and straightforward architecture for the bank. Yeah, you don't have to deal with too much about the architecture. Just make sure you back up the DB, and for the data for the UAS, you just need to keep an image. Okay, we don't store the password customer data inside the UAS server. Okay, no customer data, no token information, no password information are stored inside the UAS. Okay, so you just need to back up whenever there's a problem, restore it. That's all. Yeah, very straightforward as well. And for the key, HSM key, of course, you want to make them in sync within among all the HSM. So all the HSM, they have the same RSA key, they have the same storage key. So it can be easily to switch to different HSM. Okay. And in one project in Hong Kong, we are trying to support multiple brand of HSM now. Yeah, we have the US, the HSM brand, or even the Europe HSM brand. Yeah, we are doing the project now. Yeah. Okay. For the hardware requirement, as I said, we support VM. We recommend to have the 2 server and 8-core CPU, 16 gig of memory, 300 gig of internal hard disk. The hard disk, it doesn't matter because only the log, the system log will be incremented. So you could do the housekeeping, you could do the archive. That's fine. Then the database, the storage will not be increased too much. And for the DB, yeah, it also increase according to the transaction. If you have more authentication, more transaction, then you need a bigger storage, okay, from the database. Yeah. And for the performance, this is a very conservative estimation or indeed a benchmark, okay, from our QA team, our R&D. We do the password authentication 4,500 to 10,000 per minute. Okay, so every minute one server could serve 4,000 to 10,000, almost 11,000 per minute. Okay, the difference is dependent on what kind of RSA key they are using, whether it's a 1024 or 204H. Of course, as I mentioned at the beginning, this is a linear scalable solution. So you could add in like 3 server or 4 server, then it will increase your throughput. It will increase the authentication capability. Okay, so this is very straightforward. Some banks they may, I have adding more users, so I need to increase the capability of the UAS. Well, you just buy another license and then you deploy it and clone it. Actually, you just clone it and change the IP. Yeah, everything fine. You could just use it right away. It usually takes like 1 or 2 days. Yeah, easily to deploy the new UAS server, and then will increase the number of authentication throughput. All right. So of course, we recommend the banks, the organization to deploy another set of the UAS and HSM for testing, for integration. Yeah. So for the general purpose, okay, we support the Gemalto or the Thales. Okay, original they call it SafeNet. After Gemalto acquired SafeNet, and then after that, Thales acquired Gemalto. Now they call it the Gemalto PSE HSM, and we are also certified in another brand of HSM, UT Marco. Okay, that should, I believe, they should create a better performance than the Thales one. So this is just for reference. Yeah, but usually it is good enough. Yeah, usually it is good enough. And if the bands need more throughput, more performance, then they just add in more UAS and as well as the HSM. So it's very straightforward. You don't have to care about, you don't have to change too much. You don't have to change your call. You don't have to change your client setting. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Just add the server, add the VM, add the HSM is fine. And for hosting the UAS server, it is a Java. Okay, it's a Java application. It's a Java server. So we support no matter it's a Windows or Linux, as long as you have the Java environment, the JLE, JDK, and then it comes with a Tomcat. Okay, if the bank would like to use WebLogic or JBoss, that's fine. They could deploy that, and then we install our UAS on that as well. But yeah, usually our installer already come with the Tomcat. Yeah, so our QA, our testing also tested on the Tomcat. Yeah, but when we do the certification, we also test over this application server as well. Okay, during our QA process. And in terms of database, we support Oracle, MS SQL Server, and MySQL. Yeah, it's up to the banks. Okay, if they have the Oracle, then they could create a new instance for us. Then that's fine. Yeah, and then they in their SAN storage, they need to allocate some space. Okay, for our authentication service. Yeah, and for HA, as I said, we need load balancer for contacting our UAS through the REST API. DB backup, real-time backup is essential. You need to have the real-time backup and replication solution. Yeah, this is very common, okay, for those database solution. And UAS backup, you just need to back up the log. Yeah, that's all. Or you keep a full image of the UAS, and whenever there's a problem, just restore the whole UAS is fine. Yeah, so it's very straightforward for the third-party software and hardware configuration.